Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Stogie Geek Show. I'm your host, Paul Asadorian. I am joined by the illustrious Stogie Geeks crew for this wonderful episode 74. Sitting right across from me is none other than Mr. Stogie Santa.
Good evening, everybody.
And on the other side of the table, Mr. Mark Jr. is here.
Yes, I am.
Excellent. It's a lovely background you guys have. This gigantic room that we're in, broadcasting live from the Havana Club.
It could be described as cavernous.
Yes, it is.
Wow,
It's
big words.
It's a really, really nice place to,
I have a
to
high
do a
IQ.
broadcast from. It's very
I
nice.
got low
I'm a geek.
expectations.
I'm a geek.
If you're a geek, what does that make me?
Yeah, I know.
Super
geek.
nerd. Will
geek.
Cooper's here on the lines from North Carolina. Welcome, Will, to the
Hello to
show.
everybody, and a special hello to everyone in the Cigar Federation chat room tonight. Looks like we have a great crowd there.
Yes.
Very good.
Very nice. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is normally we talk about our smoke of the week. That is the cigar that we feature on this particular show. Tonight we're smoking an offering from Fratello Cigars, and I just so happen to have Omar de Frias here with us. Welcome, Omar, to the show.
My man, Paul. I gotta let me first of all thank you guys for inviting me over. Anytime I can get a chance to smoke in the house, drink some good scotch, and hang out with you guys, it's always a beautiful day for me, man.
Nice,
So
nice.
thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to come out and talk cigars and drink some good scotch.
Welcome to have you.
Yes. We enjoy doing that, so much so we get together every week and do it. It's funny how that works. So, Omar, tell us about the cigar that we are smoking tonight. Of course, I've caught you mid-light. It looks like you're using like a cedar spill to light that up, too.
My good friend Brian from.
Don't set the house on fire now.
My good friend
That's a
Brian
problem I
from
have with
Cigar
those spills.
Reserve. It's somebody who gave me who we're gonna be partnering in the future to be able to do some cedar spills for Fratello cigars. Gave me these. It's a great product. I love lighting my cigars with it, and anytime I can do it with it and just enjoy the entire experience of cigar smoking, I get to do it. So
Nice.
So that's always it's always nice, man. It's always a good time.
So, Omar, tell us about the cigar that we're all smoking here tonight. It's a Toro-sized cigar.
Right.
That's pretty much all I know about it right now. I like to
So
hear
let me
it
tell
from
you
the
a little bit
source.
about what we did with this smoke. I'll tell you the composition first, and I'll tell you what you should be expecting in the next hour or so. What you have there is an Habano Nicaraguan wrapper on this cigar. It's got an Ecuadorian Sumatra binder to it. It's got a filler from Peru and Nicaraguan Ligero. So it's a very complex smoke. It's got a lot of different nuances going on for it. Because of the Habano wrapper and because of the Esteli Ligero that we have, you're going to get a little bit of nice spiciness, a little bit of that pepper towards the front of the smoke. As it starts to transition on you, the smoke will start beginning to get a little creamy, a little, sweet to it. After that part, the pepper actually comes back towards the end, and it's a very good transition to the smoke. It's a very interesting blend that we came up with, and it's been going phenomenal for us. So far, we've been able to close over 60 accounts in 3 months after launching Fratello at the show. We're over 19 states right now, and I'm enjoying every bit. I'm working a lot. I'm traveling a lot. But nobody said that this industry was going to be easy to get into and maintain ourselves. So I'm just excited, and it's a solid medium body. So I hope you guys to get a chance to enjoy it for the next hour.
Excellent. So, Omar, how did you get started in the cigar industry and getting started in blending cigars?
So I grew up in the Dominican Republic in Santo Domingo, and I grew up next to a retail shop in the Dominican Republic. As my mother was never pleasant of the smoke, I was always, can I get a little more? Can I get a little more? Because I was always very thrilled, very intrigued about the industry. There was every time I would go past the store, I see all these gentlemen, in their suits, and the way that they handle themselves and the conversations that they would have. Sometimes heated, sometimes very good conversations. Always depend on the subject, like politics, like religion, and things like that. But it was always amazing for me to go by this place and connect with this store. So I at one point I got in. I was invited by the manager to come in and see a torcedor do his art, and I was blown away the way that this gentleman just grabbed this bunch of leaves and just made it into this beautiful shape. And then obviously, being so young, I didn't get a chance to enjoy what obviously I'm enjoying right now. But it was that's sort of the beginning of I've been smoking cigars for 20 years, and I've been loving it ever since. And so this is an industry that rallies behind camaraderie around family, around friendship, and I think it's a very noble industry, and I'm psyched to be part of it. So
Excellent, excellent. Will, did you have? I'm sure that you have a whole list of questions for Omar.
Right. So Omar, you just I guess a little fact because I guess some folks know you played pro basketball in the Dominican Republic. Is that correct?
say that again. I'm sorry.
Um, you played pro basketball in the Dominican Republic, correct?
Yes. So I played pro basketball in Santo Domingo. I did I did about a year or so playing pro basketball. It was my first love. It was my true passion. I wanted to go very far. I gave it a try to NCAA Division II, upstate New York, and my knee couldn't handle it, man. It was I injured my right knee, tore my ligament, so I decided to do okay. NBA or an MBA? What is more feasible right now for me? And so I decided to go the route of doing some studies and get my MBA finalized. And it was some shattered dreams, because if you ask any professional athlete or any athlete at a high demanding level, what is one of the biggest blows that you can have in your career, and absolutely is it's an injury. So I was happy that everything happens for a reason. Now I'm doing something that I'm absolutely psyched and passionate about, which is cigars. But yeah, it was an interesting point in my career, in my life. It helped me overcome a lot of things, and but now I'm here, and everything is now we're talking cigars, so you can't beat that.
You had one of the most interesting launches that I think I've seen in the cigar industry. For folks who don't know, we were at the IPCPR, and before the show opened, there was a seminar, an FDA seminar, and in that seminar, everyone was handed one of Omar's cigars. I was aware of the cigar because Omar had sent out some media information, but I hadn't smoked it, and I just thought it was real interesting because the reaction was very, very positive. How did you walk into that, so to speak? 'Cause I'd not seen any new company launch like that before.
Well, I think what's funny is a lot of people have been asking me not only that question, but a lot of people have been asking me, Omar, you come right off the gate and you start closing all of these accounts and all of this buzz and what's going on, and I tell them that this did not happen overnight. I've been working on this for the last 3 years, and in the last 3 years, I've been building up relationships. I've been talking to people. I've been traveling. I have been studying. I have been reading. I have been going on Tobacconist University. I went from what I call a novice smoker to a novice plus, because obviously there's so much to learn in this industry. It's not even funny, but I did my research. I understood what this. I think I understand the business that I'm in, and this is a relationship business. And I have been blessed to have launched in the way that we did. We have a great relationship with the IPCPR. I think the IPCPR is doing some great things, and the people in the IPCPR that have helped us out. It's been tremendous. couple of companies had a chance to present their smokes. I think Ezra Zion and some other companies had a chance to showcase their cigars. But we were fortunate enough to be able to put the cigars on people's hands, put it on your hand, Will, and the people that smoked the cigar the day before, we were fortunate enough for them to come back the next day and say, "This is a pretty good smoke." I mean, who are you? And obviously the questions began, and it was a very, very successful first year for us, first show.
Now, Omar, aside from that, what are some of the things with so many different cigar brands hitting the market? What are some of the things that you kind of have on your brain that set you apart from the rest?
I think there's so many. I got to be honest with you. I think right now this industry is being driven by tobacconists and by the retail shops and by the brick and mortars. Those are the guys that are setting, who they want to place. Because you're absolutely right. There are there's an unbelievable variety of cigars out there. That who do you say yes or who do you say no to? I've been fortunate enough to go over 130 plus shops in the last three or so months, and every time I go into one of these shops, it's so who are you? Where are you making it? And how many guys are they're receiving a week? We're talking about retail shops that are receiving 2, 3, 5 guys looking to place their cigars with these businesses. So I think a couple of things have played in our favors. I think the fact that we've been able to get into some major tobacco shops like and I'm not going to start naming a whole bunch of names because there's over 60 accounts, but guys like Drapers and Nat Sherman in New York City, Old Virginia Tobacco, Havana Connections, Club Humidor in San Antonio. These are people that set trends, and I think that has helped us tremendously. I think something else that has helped us without a doubt is the branding that we have done with our cigar. There is no doubt that we have one, if not the most unique band in the industry right now. I think that has played a tremendous role. It's the only band right now that actually angles around a cigar like ours does, and it was a 7-month process. That's why I'm saying this was a successful launch, but it was a successful launch for a reason. I've been working on this for over 3 years, and the band itself took us only 7 months just to be able to achieve.
Yeah, so much of success is attention to details such as that, right? And a lot of us would think of as a band like, cigar smokers, we really don't care what the band looks like. But that, I think in the back of our minds, maybe subconsciously, that certainly comes into play, right?
There's no question. There's no question about that. I mean, this is an industry that thrives a lot on branding. I mean, you got to be able to have the right branding to back up your product. You have nothing if you have a great cigar, but the branding doesn't back it up. And so I think it's obviously it's just a small little attention to details, working to make sure that our trademark is there, working to make sure that our permits and our bonds and our importer permits and our tobacco permits are all in place, or our state permits. And I mean, there's a series of things that happen behind the doors and in the administrative process that obviously take you to the level that you need to be. But there are so many little nuances that you have to think of. I mean, something as small as this is the Toro sizes, and this is the band that we use for the Toro. We had to actually make 4 separate dies for each and every one of our sizes. What does that mean? We actually had to, basically I have one band for every single cigar. I had to make a separate band for every cigar. The only reason I had to do that is because there was no way this was going to overlap the right way in the back if I had to make it like that. Because I have a Corona size, which is a 46. The next level is a 52, which is 8 points higher. There's no way this was going to overlap the right way, going 8 points higher. Then it's a 54. Then it's a 6x60. And so, to do it halfway and not do it the right way to begin with was not something that I was willing to compromise, and people have connected with that, and I think it's been great.
So Omar, you said that you got your MBA, right? So after you get your MBA, or when you're closing into finishing your studies, I went to business school too, and I think you get this kind of sense like, oh, I got this, and you're excited, and I'm going to go start doing business. And once you get into the cigar business, were there things that like shocked you about, or not shocked you, but that you're like, wow, this is really different, and I've got to learn these little nuances? And what were some of those things?
Yeah, there's no question about that. I think like anything else, there's such a high learning curve. I can give you an example. You may be working for Merrill Lynch, and you are in the collections department of Merrill Lynch, and all of a sudden you transfer to the finance department of Merrill Lynch. It may be the exact same organization, but just going from one area to the other takes you a huge learning curve because there's new processes, there's new things that you have to deal with, there's new financial procedures, there's new laws and things like that. It's the exact. I mean, just imagine going from and from a financial industry and aerospace industry, like I was in going to the cigar industry. I mean, it's a leap because there's so much that you have to learn. There's so many nuances. There's so many little things that I'm learning right now. And we're talking only administrative. We're not even talking about tobacco. We're talking only administrative that you have to make sure that you do in business. And so it's about doing your research. It's about getting down, getting to the nitty gritty to make sure that you understand most of the things that you're probably going to have to face going forward.
Will, did you have more questions for Omar?
Yeah, so Omar, I'm gonna kind of flip this a bit. So one thing that I've been real intrigued with what you've been doing is your retailer countdown, and I can tell now from the answers you gave me why you did this. But you've taken this grassroots approach to promoting your brand after the show. You've been hitting the shops. You've been the sales force. Am I correct on that?
Absolutely.
And was that also part of your strategy? And how's that going?
There is no question. I mean, that was my number one strategy. This is a one man show. Still, I got my beautiful wife who helps me tremendously with the back end and the amount of things I wouldn't be able to do without her. But there are so many things that have to occur to be able to get to this point that is amazing. I've been going door to door. I've been knocking on the doors. I've been introducing myself. That retailer countdown is basically a thank you to the people that are supporting us, and there are people that are saying, "Hey, Omar, yeah, I'm going to give you a chance." This isn't about I'm a good guy or not. This is about I respect the fact that you came before your trip to Las Vegas to the Big Smoke, and you spent a week in Texas, landing in Austin, going to San Antonio and talking to Keith Rumbo in the Club Humidor, going and doing a couple of events in Houston at the Smoke Ring with our partners at the Smoke Ring in Stogies of Houston, and then traveling up north, going to Elite Cigars, which is now one of our partners in Dallas, and then traveling from Dallas to Vegas so that I can go meet with a couple of accounts in Vegas, and doing that face to face. I think people value it a lot, and it's absolutely a grassroots effort because people appreciate the fact that you are the face, that you are making that first connection. And so we're going to continue to do that. We're going to continue to do that more control now going forward, because I want to make sure that I nurture the accounts that we have. And that's basically my focus right now through the end of the year, is basically go to the accounts that we have, do events, make sure that the product is being put on people's hands, and then after that, grow to a different level. Will and Paul, I have no idea, I got to be honest, that we were going to be able to get to the point that we did in 3 months. I had no idea, and it was a blessing. But now I'm at an advantage where I can start zoning in and focusing and developing. That's my strategy in the next couple of months. Not so much opening up new accounts, but now it's about developing and making sure that the accounts that we have are strong and are strong enough for the reorders to start coming in.
Yeah, I know you've become a household name in North Carolina. I mean, people know you in North Carolina. I know you spent a lot of time in the state because you're well known here, and I know you probably the folks up in Rhode Island probably haven't seen it yet, but it's definitely made an impression on that. Just from talking to people, they like that approach a lot.
North Carolina has been amazing for us. Will, one of the first accounts we opened in North Carolina is Twin City Cigars in Winston-Salem, and we were fortunate enough to be at Empire Cigars with Hal in Raleigh. We were fortunate enough to be in Greensboro with Havana Phils. We were fortunate enough to go to the Perfect Smoke in Salisbury, North Carolina. Fortunate enough that Outland Cigars picked us up at the show. Ansted Tobacco, one of the most unique tobacco stores I have ever seen. It literally is a tobacco.
Oh yeah.
Where is that store?
Fayetteville,
North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, most of these places, I think, have. I've been in a few of those places.
You've been in all those places. Who are you kidding? Well,
Most. You've been to most. Well,
Omar, what factory? Where's the factory where these cigars are made?
we haven't fully released where the cigars are being made. We're obviously saying this is obviously in SLE. There's still a couple of things that have to be worked out with the factory to make sure that there's not a problem releasing the name. But but we're making it in SLE, and I try to tell people it's to although the factory is important, it's very important because our partners from the factory are amazing. But it's about the smoke at the end of the day. It's about where we're getting the tobacco. It's tobacco quality. We got three different countries playing in this tobacco. We have Esteli, we have Peru from Tarapoto, from the region of Tarapoto in Peru, and we have Ecuador. So I think I like to call it a multicultural cigar. There's a couple of different things happening with the cigar, but yeah, I mean I'm gonna be in Nicaragua in January, and we're gonna be working on what's gonna be next going forward for Fratello. There's a couple of things we were bouncing off. Maybe a new size, maybe a new blend. I gotta make sure that we have a strong foot first going forward.
Yeah, Omar, tell me about the blending process. And I know that's kind of an open-ended question, but I get interesting answers from the folks that come on the show that blend their own cigars about people kind of rummaging through a factory, in Nicaragua or the Dominican Republic or wherever they're making the cigar, rummaging through, pulling cigar from bales, rolling cigars, and that whole process. What's that process like for you when you blend your cigars?
So I'm going to tell you something. For us, it was more of actually sitting down. Here's a bunch of leaves that we have. Here's the different blends that we can work on. I'm gonna forward to you a little bit. Once we got what the binder and the filler was going to be, I got to tell you, that was one of the most exciting parts of the whole process, because we started playing with San Andres wrapper, see how that was going to go with the San Andres wrapper. We started playing with the Habano Nicaraguan wrapper. We started playing with some Ecuadorian Habano wrapper. It wasn't until we hit the Nicaraguan Habano that we knew we had the blend. But even with that blend, there was percentages that we were working with. Let's put a little bit less Ligero. Let's cut the Ligero here. Let's put a little bit in the back. Let's put a little more of that Peruvian filler. Let's change that binder and put something else. That was exciting. That was the fun part of the last 3 years as we've been working on this process. That has driven us to that's been driving me the most. The not so exciting part of the entire process was more the red tape of dealing with the government and dealing, with the names and dealing with licensing and the amount of things that I'm sure are there for a reason, but it's just when you're playing with tobacco, I think it's just a game. It's cooking. It's like Jose Blanco says. This is blending is like cooking. You have different ingredients and you get different flavors with the profiles. And so that has something that obviously has that has played a big role. But it wasn't until we actually matched that Ecuadorian. We knew the Peruvian had to be in our cigar.
I was going to ask you that. So did you set out to say, I want to include tobacco from a different company that is not more popular, or did you say, hey, there's this big pile of Peruvian tobacco sitting here in the factory. Let me put some in my cigar and see what it does?
No, I mean, we have inventory, right? So the inventory, we were working obviously with the inventory from the factory. And the factory obviously had inventory with Peruvian tobacco. And obviously that was a big interest for me. I've had cigars that have had Peruvian tobacco before. So for us, it was more of, let's take a look and see how this tobacco actually plays with the blending that we were working for. I knew exactly what we were striving to do. I was striving to do a couple of things with my smoke. I wanted something that was complex. I wanted something that had lots of flavor. I wanted something that was going to be balanced. But I wanted something that was a medium smoke. I wanted something that would make sure that it was that was flavorful enough that we would be able to have the blend that we actually do. And so I think that has played tremendously for us. But the result is in a fabulous smoke.
How did you come up with the sizes? Did you Did you know you wanted to hit certain points, or did you blend different sizes and say, hey, this blend really works well in this size, or how much are you tweaking each blend for each size too?
So I knew the sizes that I absolutely love. I'm a big Corona fan. Big Corona fan. I think it's a size where you get a lot of that flavor from the wrapper. Enough ratio between wrapper and filler that I think makes the most. You get the most complexity and the most balance. So we blended out of the Corona size. I knew we had to have a Toro. Toro is one of the most, if not the most popular size right now in retail shops. And obviously, the 6x60 was more of was a strategic decision because a lot of people enjoy and love those larger ring gauges.
Really, you're in the minority there. Most blenders say that they love 6x60 and it's their favorite size.
That's funny. Huh?
No, I'm
They're
only
full
kidding.
of shit. Sarcasm.
No, across the board, everyone who's blended the cigars come on the show says they did a 6x60 due to market demand.
Oh, you have to. You
Yeah.
have to have that
Yeah.
large
That it's not their
size.
favorite size to smoke, but that's what the market's demanding. And
There's
it
no question.
always comes down to value, right? Perceived value by the consumer.
There is no question, and it is absolutely perceived value. When you start going up in the 70s and the 80 ring gauges, and I've seen some 90 ring gauges, then obviously we're talking about a whole different thing. We're just talking about a whole lot of smoke. You're puffing a whole lot of smoke, but a flavor maybe, I don't know. I mean that's up to individual palates. But it's for, I mean, I got to be honest. It's in our 6x60. You get a lot of that Peruvian tobacco, so you do get a lot of flavor, but you lose that complexity. You lose the complexity because you don't have the smaller ring gauges that goes so well in the ratio between the wrapper and filler. I'm a big fan of Lanceros. I think Lanceros are great. Smaller ring gauges. I think you get so much flavor. But I gotta be honest. I mean, I miss the Ligero. I mean, you can't put Ligero in a 38 ring gauge, and so I miss a little bit of that strength factor. I'm a big medium solid medium body smoker, and so Corona is absolutely by far my favorite size. A lot of people have been asking me like crazy about what's coming up new. What are you gonna do with are you gonna come out with a Lancero size for your smoke and things like that? And I gotta be honest, we have blended the Lancero, and the Lancero is delicious, but it's not a popular smoke. It's not a smoke that most people will gravitate towards going into the shop.
We'll buy some of those off you. How many boxes you got?
I'm sure. Probably the Stogie Geeks community. We'll distribute them on the Stogie Geeks
Absolutely,
community.
absolutely.
We'll take care of that for you.
That's where the retailers come in with that hand sell of educating the consumer about that cigar. It's really huge.
I think it just needs to be a Jedi mind trick. You will like the Lancero.
Lancero's up here because of the push that I do in the store. It's growing at leaps and bounds.
Yeah,
it really is. Lanceros and the Coronas, they really are.
There's no question about that, and I have been asked by a lot of companies by far. Well, when I say a lot, I mean probably 10 retailers have asked me and have committed to Lanceros with me. So that could be something in the works. I'm not sure if our full blown, let's go all out and do a whole bunch of Lanceros. Maybe not that, but maybe like a limited release, maybe like an event cigar.
Exactly.
That could always be a possibility. So yes.
Now, Omar, what's your take on limited cigars? And a lot of different manufacturers and blenders have slightly different tactics. Some people will say, well, I'm going to release this limited cigar. There's going to be 5,000 boxes, and that's it forever. 5,000 boxes, and we're done. Whereas others come out with a yearly limited release where they try and keep the same consistency, and it's limited for just that year, and it comes out every year. Have you decided on a strategy either way, maybe both or one or the other?
I got to be honest with you. That term limited release has been used so much that I'm a little hesitant to continue to use it. I know it's popular, and not a lot of people love the limited releases and the limited editions and things like that. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna look into that. Maybe not right off the bat, because I want to make sure that our baseline is strong. Okay, so I want to make sure that Fratello has the right amount. It's in the right amount of stores. I know that at some point we're gonna have to do a limited release, but I don't know what that looks like. To be honest with you, I know that's gonna be a little bit way down the line, down the line, because I'd rather come out with a new blend and make sure that we have enough inventory to be able to suffice with the demand. We've been fortunate enough to have sold most of our inventory right about now, and we're getting a new shipment coming in the next couple of weeks from Nicaragua. So it's about presenting Fratello right about now, and maybe adding a new size that I know is going to be a punch of flavor. But yeah, that's something that is definitely going to be down the line. I think that the term limited edition has been worn out a little bit too much. Everybody has a limited edition. Everybody's a limited edition, but sometimes a limited edition is actually worse than the actual cigar that they had before. And so it's a little bit of a thin line there that I know I'm gonna have to cross. I just don't know when.
It's interesting. I actually appreciate to hear that.
Yeah, me too.
That honesty,
Me too.
Yeah.
Build your core. Go from there. Take that bridge when it comes to you. Good for you.
Yep.
It has an element of modesty built into it right away, and I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and our branding, man. I mean, something as important as branding. I mean, branding for me is huge. The investment that we have done behind our brand is significant, and I know it's because obviously people will connect. I mean, our cigar has been going rave on social media and people posting pictures and things like that because they think the band is funky, and it is a funky band. It's
cool.
I've gotten comments from, man, this is a goofy band, to wow, how funky is, like, oh man, this barber pole thing is driving me crazy, but I love it because it the comments that we have received and by a lot of people that have paid a lot of attention to the band are dead on with what we were trying to do initially. When we were working on the band with my designer from the Dominican Republic, it was a couple of things that I wanted to see. I wanted to get that nice, beautiful Radio City Music Hall, 1960 New York City theme. I wanted to get that nice, beautiful barber pole camaraderie type thing going on with our cigar band, and I wanted to get the vibrancy and the excitement of the of our year right now. And so there were a lot of things that played a role. Obviously, that was tremendously hard for our designer to do, but he captured it. He absolutely
did he put a
captured it.
marijuana leaf on the black part, or is that no? That's not
That's going to cause a little issue. I'm telling you, it's going to cause. No, not because of that. I think we look at that. What do we think of?
Call me
It looks
crazy
like a
little bit.
blossom.
No Mary Jane here, brother. No Mary Jane.
It looks like a blossoming flower, Omar.
Oh, I think of something.
I think hearing you say that like classic Radio City Music Hall vibe to it, I was kind of like thinking like, what does it remind me of? And it does. It has that like 1920s type look to it, and like Art Deco almost. It's cool. I really like it.
Thank you.
Is it now when you set out with that, right? Just quickly, was it and the press you've gotten back, is it kind of like you said you got mixed results, but have you been treating it more as like a all press is good
All
press
press
type
is
thing?
good press, my friend, right?
Absolutely.
If it's negative or positive, it's press.
That's what I'm saying.
Even some of the the blogs. I mean, the blogs have been amazing for us. With people connecting with the cigar. I think bloggers have come into this industry to stay. The effort, the love, and that's where people get mistaken on this. These are people who love this industry. These are people who are passionate about cigars. And when you're passionate about something, you're gonna do an unbelievable job. Don't get me wrong. We got every size of the spectrum here. From bloggers have a whole lot of views, and bloggers that don't have that lot of views, and then the middle. But it's about, you can really tell who the guys are in this industry to stay and are in this industry because they love it. And you can see it in their blogs. You can see it because they're posting every single day. You can see it because people connect, because people are seeing them, and because people respect them. And so I think that has been a great part, that has played an unbelievable part because to the success that we have had so far. It's the fact that the blogging community has rallied behind our cigars. I think that's huge.
Oh, absolutely. It's good that you embrace that.
Will, more questions for Omar?
Come on now, guys.
Mine is this, Omar.
Go ahead,
when you're sitting down and you're doing the blending right off there, you roll it, it's fresh. Now you got to determine what that's going to be in 30 days down the road, because 30 days it changes. It really does. So you look at it rolled fresh, and then you revisit it at 30 days. What do you do from there? Do you do some initial tweaking for each size?
You know what's funny is you got a good cigar right off the bat.
Right.
Once it comes out of you're not obviously not gonna get all the flavor. You're obviously not gonna get all the complexity, but you got good tobacco.
Right.
When you got good tobacco, you have something. There are some things during the process obviously that work and some things that don't. You have to give it at least 6 weeks. There is no before you you got the right blend. You got to give it at least 6 weeks staying. But in those 6 weeks, many things can happen. If there's too much rain going on in Nicaragua, that affects the blend tremendously. So you got to let it sit a little longer and make sure that it gets dry, a little more dried up. Even in the moving of the cigars from Nicaragua to the United States of America, and obviously you're opening it up at a 20% difference in humidity, the cigar is gonna taste differently, and so it's gonna be. There are so many little factors. How long my cigars are staying in my storage that we build just for our cigars. How long do they stay? How much that affects the blend. I think the big difference obviously comes in that first 6 weeks, where you actually finalize a blend, when you smoke it right then and there, and you see the type of tobacco that you have, and then after 6 weeks, you light it up again, and you say, "Wow, yeah, this was absolutely what we were thriving to do." So that's that. I think that plays an unbelievable role. But there's no question that we take my cigar after 6 weeks in Nicaragua, 6 weeks in Nicaragua, and you smoke it there, and you bring it immediately the next day to the United States, and you light it up, it's gonna have different profiles.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep. And so it's exciting. That's exciting. But you got good tobacco.
It's true, because I just come back from a little trip of doing some blending, and we did 22 different blends or different something, and one just like you say, when you hit where you hit that home run, and you say that's it. That's what you know it's going to be, and you can speculate all day long, and you know it's going to get there. You really do. And the key word that you're saying is the inventory, because that's going to drive your cigar. Having that tobacco at your disposal, that's huge.
That is huge, and that is one of the things that I was looking for. Who was going to be our partners going to begin with, and it took me a long time. I took a lot of trips to Nicaragua. I took a lot of trips to Dominican Republic, and it was inventory. At the end of the day, guys, if I produce good, 50,000 cigars, and I sell 50,000 cigars, but I can't back it up with the right blend, with the exact same blend, and going forward, I got nothing. I had a great launch. Yeah, great. Fratello was unbelievable. I'm sorry, our blend just completely changed. I gotta, you guys still smoke my cigar and everything. So you can't, you can't BS the people in this industry. This industry has changed so much. People have so much knowledge nowadays. People have traveled to Cuba. People have traveled to Ecuador. People have traveled to the Dominican Republic. Esteli, a couple, 2, 3, 4 times, know what this is all about. So they will know if all of a sudden I change my my Habano wrapper from being a fourth Capa Clara to a fourth Capa Oscura, or I go from a Peruvian filler that was from this region, and I change it to that region. You will you will notice it. It's it may be the exact same region it may be the exact same Peruvian tobacco, but it may be entirely different regions, and the flavors profiles that you get, it's going to be entirely different. And so I think this industry.
That's a great point, Omar. Do you think that the smoker today is more sensitive to changes like that? You think with as you said, the blogs and the more accessibility of trips in the cigar industry, you think that's changed it? You think that people notice subtle changes in blends more readily now?
There's no question. I think people's palates are leaps and bounds from what they were in the 1990s. In the 1990s, when the boom was happening, you could smoke anything. I mean, you could roll anything together. People will still smoke it. There was over 400 some million cigars that were being distributed in the United States of America in the 1990s. That we're not even at that level yet, but I think we're looking at a boom in the next couple of years of the cigar industry. Um, yeah, people's palates are because you're smoking so much good tobacco nowadays. You're smoking different cigars. I had an experience after the show. I went to to Napa Valley. I had a beautiful trip. Finished the show. I said I'm going to take a week. I haven't taken a week in 3 years just to relax, just not think about anything at all. And I bumped into a gentleman in Lompoc, California, one of some of the best Pinot Noir, by the way, in California, and and the gentleman was telling me, what do you do? And I was like, well, I manufacture cigars and I distribute them in the United States of America. And I was like, oh, pretty cool. Don't get offended, but I only smoke Cubans. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm not offended. It's like, but I asked him why, and this is, well, it's the best region, is the best soil in the world. And I was like, oh, okay. So he starts serving his wine. He goes one by one. So this is a Merlot that we produce here in Lompoc, California. It's a beautiful blend. The people that I'm with are drinking the wine, and I leave it there. And he's like looking at me. It's like, you're not gonna taste this? Like, no, sir. I only drink from Rioja region in Spain. This is so powerful. That's the best region in the world. The guy cracked up. It was amazing. Everybody was laughing. It's like, I deserve it. I deserve it. Yes, you deserve it. And so I gave him a little bit of a lesson so that he understands that that this is an industry that has changed a lot, and that the access to tobacco that we have. I mean, we're talking about countries like Costa Rica, like Colombia, like Peru, like Ecuador, that are producing some unbelievable tobacco. Mexico. I mean, when you couldn't put San Andres wrapper or anything. Now it's San Andres is the place to go. So it's so I think it's a learning curve. I think people's palates have gone leaps and bounds. But it's this industry has risen to the levels of knowledge that, with so much information out there, with Tobacconist University and Jorge from New Jersey, and the work that he put into that website, into his book, I think it's amazing. And so I think it's really, really, really cool what we're going to look into the next.
Yeah, so I find a lot of smokers today will have preconceived notions like that. You get the I'll only smoke Cubans, or I don't like Maduros.
I don't like some big rings, small rings.
Yes,
whatever.
big rings, small rings. What can we do to best educate? How do we approach that to get people to kind of expand their horizons?
Ask them to to try different vitolas.
It's so exciting. You do this on a regular basis.
I do
you
this on a
take
regular
people
basis.
outside of their comfort zone, smoking cigars all the time.
All the time. But I'm going to tell you something. What Omar's done with this cigar, which I'm so happy a lot of people are doing, this is my humble opinion, is the balance of Ligero. Anyone can put out a bold smoke. This, to me, what I love about the cigar, it's not the strength, it's the flavor. The flavor is most important to me. Now, what I'm really digging about this cigar is the binder. I love the Sumatra. It's perfectly balanced. It's really, I'll tell you, I love smoking cigars that are new, and it's caught me by surprise big time.
It's interesting you say that about the Sumatra, right? Like, Sumatras are really popular tobacco right now in the industry. We're seeing it tons and tons.
Especially.
No doubt.
And I like the fact that it's a little subdued in this, but it's there. You know what I mean? And I like that about it, that it's being used as a binder. I like also the creativity that I've been seeing too. People taking things that are traditionally wrapper leaves and putting them in binders or fillers.
It's a nice
and things
marriage.
of that nature.
No, I think it gives it that what
People are being
what this
very
cigar is doing
creative
for me
right
too
now.
is that medium strength, but
Phenomenal flavor.
phenomenal flavors.
And what I like is,
and you find a lot of sticks that are a lot stronger than this. They almost overpower your senses.
I want to try the Corona.
Yeah,
be honest
I
with
do.
you.
I really want to try the
Corona.
Corona
I think
too.
the Corona's Omar, I enjoy the Toro. I really do.
But you just
But
found
this
4 Corona smokers.
But no. Let me finish this statement.
I love it.
It truly, what I don't know. I guess we're splitting hairs here. Balance, complexity. It's two different things, and I find it both in a cigar.
Yeah,
it really is. That sweetness that comes back, and what I like is, but throughout the whole cigar, I got that Sumatra. I really, I mean, everyone loves, and I know the wrapper is a lot of percentage of the cigar, but that Sumatra undertones to this cigar, it's really blending well. When I went on the website and I saw
I'm going to give Stogie Santa a little credit on this, because he lit this thing up and he goes, this has got to be Sumatra.
It has to be.
And this is before I pulled up the website and showed it to him.
About
this
the
is
cigar,
before Omar started talking about it.
I said, this is really, I'm telling you, it's, bands to me, like we were down there, we're looking, we got Powder Coat, you can do everything. I went to the band, I forgot, you probably know Omar down in the DR. I forgot the gentleman. He moved from Cuba. He came down to the DR, and he showed me. I guess to me, I could give a shit about a label, but I give you a lot of. But this is delivering. You could put this like white label and put nothing on it, and I would love it just as much. This cigar.
Thank you.
Omar, I'm really, really. I give you a lot of credit. It's just really, I love when people put out.
Out
that
of all
full
of us,
flavor.
too, Stogie's saying is probably the least likely to gush over something.
No,
Yeah.
I don't. I really don't. Coop, you know me and all.
Believe me.
Yeah.
You're pessimist.
I appreciate that, guys. I really do.
Oh, he did a nice job.
You
And
hit a
like
home
I
run
said,
with this one, Omar. You
Oh,
really
I
did.
want this Corona, and what we're gonna do is I'll get the information. We're gonna start. This is something I'd like to bring into the shop. There's no doubt.
Thank you.
So,
Thank
so Omar, what's the price point on the? And Will just sent these to us, and Will and I and all the guys here on the Story Geeks, we've been really busy building up the show, and we all actually have lives
Doing our own
outside the
branding,
show.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So these cigars just showed up in a package I got from Will, and I was just glad I remembered them for the show. Actually, I've been so freaking busy. But Will, did you buy these, or did Omar?
Yeah, they're probably a combination of what Omar gave me, and I did buy some. Well, here's
Okay.
what happened. The Coronas, I smoked them all.
You son of a bitch!
Right? And I said, all right, I'll just pick up some Toros at the local shop.
At least you're honest. I tell you what, between you and Omar tonight, we got a lot of honesty.
They were out of Coronas. Otherwise, I would have.
Because you smoked them all.
That's good to know. Thank you. Will. I'm gonna call out tomorrow and say, hey,
As I say,
You guys need to place an order now.
no, I mean exclude. I mean the taxes from
Yeah.
state.
So Omar, what's the MSRP?
So our Corona is $7, $7 to $8.
Okay.
So it's a phenomenal price point. It was a.
So what's the Toro price wise?
the Toro is $8.40.
Okay.
Wow.
And the in the 6x60 is $8.80. The Robusto is $7.80, and their Corona is $7.20. So it's a phenomenal price point.
Yeah, was that your goal to keep them under $10, and that was the price point you were trying to hit? Yeah.
There was no question about that. I needed to make sure that I put the cigars on people's hands. I mean, we go back to the competition. The competition that is out there is it's amazing. The amount of quality cigars that are out there. I mean, Nomad Cigars, my man Fred Rui.
He was on the show a few weeks back.
There are so many people that have some unbelievable smokes. The way that we as small boutiques are able to compete, although our price, the net, the amount of money that you're making at the beginning, it may not be so big, but you need to be able to get the cigars on people's hands. There's no question about that, and the competition is huge. So I wanted to make sure that we price it right, that we price it well, and that it would be very much so worth your $7 to $8.
And I'll tell you the secondary part of this, Omar. To me, I'm personal. I don't like a chewy cigar with tons of smoke. That's just a personal thing. To me, this is right where I want. I love.
I
the
noticed
draw.
that too, Stogie.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something about that
The
there's.
draw is.
I mean, we smoke obviously a lot of different cigars here on the show, and one of the things I notice is the draw and the amount of smoke varies so greatly in all the cigars we smoke. I mean, you get some that just they don't put out enough smoke for you, and the draw is just not loose enough. And then you get the total opposite end of the spectrum,
Too chewy.
where the draw is too loose and it produces way too much smoke. And each of those, either end of the extremes of that spectrum, to me, detract from the smoking
there's no
experience,
doubt.
right? And
Right.
the smoking experience is something that I've yet to be able to define and put a label or a number on, right? But there's a smoking experience associated with a cigar.
That's one of the biggest praises we have received so far on our smoke. I got to be honest with you guys. It's the fact that the amount of smoke that you're getting per the Vitola that you're buying, it's just right. It's just
right.
It really is.
I like it to be a little bit deliberate. And that's what this
because I
delivers
want
to
to pull from it. I want to pull from it.
Yes.
I want
to get that feedback, that tactile kind of feedback.
It's amazing. Like again, and not to keep going by and be self-centered. We were down again. The DR. Some people power smoke, and I can't do that because to me, it's a journey. Every cigar is a journey. Even when you're pulling a blend, and I think the drawer really makes makes a difference.
It's
it
a
really
huge
does.
component.
There's no question about it, because if it's too tight, it's like you don't want to be bothered with it. And to
Right.
me, when we smoked this one particular cigar, it wasn't bad, but I mean, I think if it was a
No,
little
I know
tighter
what you're talking
draw,
about, and I enjoyed that smoke as well. But yeah,
I think if it was just like this,
yeah,
the cigar would have been a lot
Yes,
better. You
yes.
would have got more flavor off it.
Yep.
But anyway,
There's no question. There's no question, and you're absolutely right. I mean, that is such an important factor in making sure that you have the right craftsmanship in your cigars. It's craftsmanship. It's are you putting too much? Are you are the people when you go into a factory, that's what you have to observe. Are you observing that the guys that are on the floor, that are not only bunching the cigars, but the guys that are watching the supervisors, making sure that the bunching is right, going from station to station, touching the cigar, making sure that it's not too spongy, then taking it from that level and putting it into the next level of quality control to make sure that the raw is right. Put it into the machine, poke a hole. Is it drawing the right way? These are things that I tell a lot of people who want to get into this industry that you got to look into. I mean, this isn't when you're making a decision on who's going to make your cigar. You got to look into the factory. You got to look at the small little details about, is that guy doing his job? Is the guy in the production line actually making sure that he's touching the tobacco after the bunching process, or after they press it, when they put it into the lady's hand, so they're going to put the wrapper on it? Is that gentleman going around and double checking that every cigar is the right way? That hand mechanism, making sure that there's enough tobacco, that is the number one thing. You can put as many things as you want to in machines and all that good stuff, but when it's not until that moment that when the guy grabs the tobacco and says, yeah, there's the amount of tobacco.
You're speaking Stoker Sanders language now.
You'll have no idea, but
he has opinions on those draw machines.
Yeah, but whatever. That's I don't want to get into that. But it comes to, this is where Omar and every other people people have no idea what kind of work that Omar's doing, because he's on the road. He's got to put this in someone's hands. He's got to be there all the time. And not only that, he's got to be at the factory, and it's just like it's a 24/7. It's really a difficult scenario, because it doesn't start. It starts at the factory.
Yeah,
it truly does, because he can do all day long. He can. My kudos to you. Because you've done your homework. There's no doubt about it. Like, I love when you said that. This is not 3 weeks in the making. This is a lot of work. And now when he goes to New Jersey, New York, and whatever, he leaves there. Now he's got to go back to the factory again.
That's right.
Because it's
that's what it takes.
You can say what you want. This is a total different animal when he knows this with the factory. He's got to be on top of this all the time. And this is where, as he gets bigger, this is where the sales force comes in, and it gives him more room to keep an eye on what's going on.
So Omar, outside of your own blends and stuff like that, what do you like to smoke?
I'm curious with this.
I'm a big fan of Lito. I gotta be honest. I'm a big fan of Lito Gomez. Blends. The job that he did on that Oro was amazing. I think he killed it with that cigar. I'm a big fan of Aurora. I think they produced historically some phenomenal cigars. One of my favorite cigars of all times is the Cien Años. That came out in 2004. I think it's got to be one of the most, if not the most complex cigar I've ever smoked.
It's interesting, some of the similarities that your cigar shares with the Cien Años. That medium body, full flavored, and it's a very similar smoking experience. It's interesting, Omar. It's one of my favorite blends of all time too. So I agree with you there.
How every artist has the guy they looked up to, or every athlete said, I couldn't wait to be like a Michael Jordan. It's the exact same thing. I mean, I was looking so much at the complexity because I love that cigar so much.
Now,
I was looking so
Omar,
much.
Have you smoked the original release was 2004 of the Cien Años, and they re-released select sizes in 2012, right? Those hit shops in around 2012. Now, have you smoked the new re-release?
I have, and I don't think anything can compare to that 2004 release.
Yeah. Well, now
tobacco.
have you smoked it the 2012 release after a year sitting in your humidor?
I have not.
I
I
go,
have not. I smoked it when it came out. I
Yeah.
have not smoked it
go
since.
back
Okay.
and now smoke it after it's been sitting around for a year.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, you're going to go, wow, this is a lot closer to that 2004. I think you're really going to like it.
Yep.
Because I went down the same path you did, right? I smoked it when it first came out, and I'm like, the 2004 release was so special, right? But
It was too
put some
special.
age on the newer release, and I'm telling you.
But God forbid you get your hands on those Maduro ones.
And that was my next line was, was the Maduro.
Oh, Omar, I got to ask you this question. You talk about different vitolas.
you.
You know what would be an interesting vitola in this particular is a Salomon.
Big fan of.
I could
Salomon.
see this in a Salomon.
I'm
Absolutely.
telling you because you know
I think
he
it'd be a
can
winner.
he can play some he can tweak this blend,
Yes.
and I think like you said, Lancero would be a more difficult to deliver with this, and I
Yes.
agree with him 100%. I think it's for the person who is just kind of understands cigars, they're not gonna understand that. And the Salomon in this cigar, I think the presentation would be absolutely.
If you want to roll
phenomenal.
some Salomons, Omar, we'll smoke them for
Omar, I think you could. I know it's the price point. You know something? I always tell people when I come in the store, I know the $7-8 point is big.
Yes.
But I when I'm selling cigars that are $19 and $20, I said to myself, when you go to a movie for an hour and a half, you drop $25. To me, I look at a cigar, whatever the price, if it's $8 or $20 on a cigar, it's always worth it. There's no other thing in this world that delivers to me that a cigar does.
You know,
it really means
totally
a
agree.
lot. It truly is, and more than a Scotch, more than of course I'm a geek on a cigar, but I don't look at it. I really. Maybe I'm in a minority. I don't look at a price point. I really don't. It's not a determining factor for me.
It doesn't
really
deter
isn't.
me from trying it,
No.
but I'll say this. Someone described this to me, and Omar, maybe you could weigh on this a little bit. Someone described a cigar to me as an affordable luxury. You know, no matter how fine a cigar is, it's never going to be $500, like a nice bottle of Scotch.
Absolutely right.
You know, and I find that to be an interesting way to look at it, right? It's a luxury, but it's something that really anyone can do.
I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to take it a step further on that. You know, it's funny how people on the streets who a lot of those anti-tobacco people look at the tobacco industry and see this is a white collar types activity, rich people with their Ferrari smoking. This is an industry that is driven by the everyday smoker, by our blue collar, white collar. It does not matter the demographics or how much you're making versus how much this person is making. People, it's an absolutely affordable luxury. It's something that you can spend an hour enjoying, an hour and a half, just enjoying and just relaxing at your home. I think you hit the nail on the head on that. It's people do get confused, that this is just you're smoking cigars, you gotta be this. I've sat down with everybody from Wall Street CEOs to UPS truck drivers, gardeners. There's a guy who picks up who I've smoked cigars with, who works on lawns, and he loves this industry. He loves cigars. We've shared smokes before, where he's giving me, Omar, have you tried this cigar? And I said no, but I'm going to trade it for you for this one. So I think this is an industry that the pretentiousness that a lot of people confuse it with, it's so far from the truth. It is we are in an industry that is, a UPS driver who's earning a living for his family is sitting right next to the CEO who's worth $2.5 million, and they're enjoying the exact same thing.
I think it's a necessary evil, because I'd be divorced without a cigar. I think it's cheaper to smoke a cigar than it is for a lawyer. So I truly, I think we all love our wives and whatever, and We all agree is that when I'm stressed out, give me a cigar, give me the time, whatever. And it does. It brings me back to reality. And I think that
It's cheaper than a divorce lawyer.
oh,
and it's like,
it is. Anytime you think, I tell you, it's my drug of choice. If you want to call it a drug, whatever you want to call it, I think if we all look at it when we're angry, we're sad, we're blue, we're happy, whatever the scenario, you smoke that cigar and it put me a what do I call that, blood pressure cuff. Put it, when I'm the bad day at work, or bad day at home, or bad day, whatever it is. You put it on there and you're sky high. And after you're done with a cigar, I'm telling you, what does it do? It does. It brings you back to reality. I love it. I truly do. There's nothing like it. There's no other drug. I think if people have high blood pressure, they smoke cigars, they wouldn't have to take Crestor or whatever the drug is. They would lower it instantly. So anyway.
One of the things that we did to be able to, because our company is all about, outside from the branding, it's all about also the end-to-end pleasure of cigar smoking. So I'm going to tag upon that a little bit. We actually, one of the things that we did as a company is we came out with our own blend of coffee. I'm a big fan of coffee.
Me too.
I think it's one of the best combinations with cigars that you can do, best pairings that you can do. Let me show you real quick what we have. This is the coffee that we blended just to go with our smoke. It's a Fratello coffee blend. That we worked for.
What region is it from, Omar? Excuse me. I roast my own coffee. I grind my own coffee. I do everything. So, what region is it from, Omar?
This is three countries. This is Ethiopia, really? El Salvador, and Honduras. When we started working with our partner in Baltimore, our partner Jay, this is a company that he has a roaster. He's this very exclusive. He only works with certain farms and this different type of locations where he brings his coffee. He roasts it locally in Baltimore, and we distribute it to select retailers. Wow. The thing that we did so good with this particular coffee that we were looking for is we're looking at the pH scale in your mouth.
Right.
If you want your pH scale in your mouth to be right in the center, you got to drink some milk. So if you have too much acidity, or if you have too much alkalinity, you make sure that your mouth is well balanced before you smoke it, or before you try the coffee. We wanted to make sure that although coffee tends to be a little bit acidic, that the pH scale in the coffee was high enough that it would balance well with the alkalinity of the smoke. It's a science. There was not a whole lot of things. We obviously went into we had 8 different types of coffee that we were working with. We were working with coffee from the Dominican Republic, Nicaragua, Hawaii, Ethiopia, and we started basically tasting each and every one of these coffees, smoking the cigar, putting it down, smoking the Corona, smoking the Toro, making sure that we got the entire flavor profiles. We narrow it down to these 3 countries. After these 3 countries, then we started blending it amongst ourselves. Let's put a little 40% on this, 30% of this, 6% of this, and see how it develops. And then after that, we're talking, this is a process, but obviously this is work for anybody else. I'm loving this thing right here, because we're smoking cigars and drinking coffee. It's one of my favorite things. We were doing this thing, and once we had what the blend, what the percentages were, and that we thought what the percentages were, then we took it to a next level and say, what do people usually brew their coffee with? Do they do a French press? Do they do espresso? Do they do the drip? What do they do? And then we started saying, okay, so let's narrow it down to what blend would go well with each and every one of these things. Our coffee goes phenomenally well with a French press.
I love a French press.
It's delicious.
You ever try a vacuolator?
Yes.
That's what I have at home. And mine's an electric vacuolator. Needless to say, you drink your coffee black.
Yes.
That's the only way to go.
Obviously.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. In Ethiopia, what happens? A lot of people don't like it because it gets a lot of floral note, but it's a great coffee. It is. Coffee is my favorite drink with a cigar. More so than a Scotch.
It's a very bright coffee. I've had we've had great success with the coffee so far. It's only in select stores so far because we're working on actually putting it right next to our boxes. I think we've done such a good job with the blend of this coffee that it wasn't just, oh, let's put a couple of beans together and let's just flop, put the name Fratello and see. We have the story. There's the ways of how you need to brew the coffee. There is the story of how this came about. There is the story behind the farms. There is a lot of information that we're actually going to have next to our boxes so that to give the coffee the right amount of value that we actually put and the level of effort that we put in our cigars. So we're going to be working on a beautiful box just to go with the coffee. It's going to be right next in the humidor. It's going to be obviously sealed. Humidity doesn't affect it, and so there's a lot of things that we're working with, and I'm psyched and excited about.
Nice. Omar, thank you so much for appearing on the Stogie Geek Show. It was wonderful having you. Here
Great
on the
interview.
show. Great interview.
I got to
great
get that
conversation.
coffee. I got to get that coffee.
We're going to hit you up for some coffee after the show.
Yeah.
Omar,
please
again,
come back. Please come
thank you
back.
very
I'll make
much. We look forward to hopefully seeing you somewhere in the U.S. At an event.
Guys, thank you so much for the support. I look forward to having another one of these, and many blessings and good ashes, guys.
Yeah, God bless
Thank
you.
you.
God bless you.
Thank
Salud,
you.
man.
Salud.
And everyone, we'll be right back with our next segment on the Stogie Geek Show for our smokes of the week. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.
I really like this cigar. I really do.